Morning, welcome. I'm Helen with Floating Yoga School. I have my friend Jack here off camera, and today's flow is a 40-minute focus on pelvic floor. And both men and women have pelvic floor muscles that help support the base of their abdomen. Also helps you breathe more deeply and more fully, so your diaphragm and your pelvic floor muscles work together in conjunction. So we'll explore a little bit of strengthening, a little bit of releasing, and just noticing how we can tune into that pelvic floor area as we move through our flow. We will have a block handy. You can do this without, but this is a way to kind of feel a certain type of engagement and a little bit of extra support. So if you have a block, you might join us in using that. If not, you can do the whole thing without. Ready to go? We're going to start on our backs reclined in a Supta Baddha Konasana or reclined butterfly. So soles of your feet together, knees out wide. You can keep your hands on the ground by your sides, or if you prefer, one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And just give yourself a moment here to arrive. This is a great shape for releasing and relaxing through your pelvic floor. So as you start to deepen your breath, imagine you could breathe all the way down to the base of your spine, all the way down to your pelvic floor. Take longer, deeper breaths. And maybe set an intention for this practice, a word or a phrase to guide you. You can start to reach your arms up over your head, extend your legs out long. Find a full body stretch, maybe some wiggles, fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. And then draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a little squeeze. Make your way to a happy baby shape. Knees come outside your ribs, feet flex up to the sky. Try to lengthen your tailbone down. And then place your feet on the ground so your knees point up to the sky. We'll take a figure four, right ankle over your left thigh. You can gently press your knee away. You can hug everything into your chest for a little bit more of a stretch. And just notice how your lower half feels, getting into glutes, hips. A little release here for pelvic floor as well. Slowly release. Switch sides, left ankle crosses over your right thigh. Same option to stay, press your thigh away or hug everything into your chest. And gently release. Place your feet on the ground so your knees are pointing up to the sky. We're going to set up for a little bridge pose, and this is a great place to feel pelvic floor engagement. So as you inhale, you can think about engaging your glutes, lifting your pelvic floor, and then lift your hips off the mat, off the ground for a little bridge. Does not have to be high. And then slowly lower all the way back down. Maybe as you exhale and release completely. Feel everything relax. So we're going to move like that a few times. Inhale to engage and lift. And exhale, lower and relax. One more time. Big breath in. And breathe it out. Hug your knees to your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze, a little release here. And rock up toward a seated position. You can find hands and knees cross-legged. Tall spine. Reach both arms to the sky. Big breath in. Fold forward over your legs as you breathe out. Let your head and your neck go. Send breath into your low back, hips. And then stay with that really deep breath, like you're breathing all the way down to your pelvic floor. Walk your hands back in, lift your chest, take a counter stretch, hands behind you, fingertips can point away, lift your heart, open up through your throat. Release back to neutral and switch the crossing of your legs. Again, both arms to the sky. Fold forward over your legs. Take that stretch, breathe into it. And walk your hands back in. Counter stretch, hands behind you, lift your heart, your throat. And then find your way to hands and knees, tabletop position, and bring your block with you. You're going to place the block between your inner thighs. If you don't have a block, you can imagine or even place like a rolled up towel or something between your inner thighs, just to find a little bit of engagement there. Yeah, nice. Think about squeezing the block tight. And then just notice how that feels. Can you turn that squeeze from your inner thighs, your adductor muscles, into a lift of your pelvic floor without clenching too much into your abs, especially your rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscle. And then see if you can keep that grip on the block. Walk your feet back into a high plank upper push-up. So I'm simply tucking my toes, lifting my knees. Yes. And breathe here. Find a little bit of heat. Find that pelvic floor lift. One more inhale. Exhale to downward facing dog. You can keep the block. You can always get rid of it at any point, but notice how it feels to have it. Take a breath in, bend your knees, look forward. If you've got the block, try to keep it. See if you can find a little hop up toward your hands with the block between your thighs. Nice. Lift halfway, breathe in, long spine. And exhale, fold, release. Inhale, rise to standing, arms sweep high to the sky. And exhale, palms together in front of your heart. And then we're just going to gently release that block. Place it near the top of your mat so it's handy. Place it over here so it doesn't block. And then, yeah, find your nice, comfortable standing position. Maybe a little rock forward and back or side to side. You can close your eyes again or soften your gaze. Imagine that block is there. Imagine you could feel that connection to the earth. Something between your thighs engaging together. The pelvic floor lifts. And then reach up through the crown of your head. Inhale, float your arms to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, flat back. Feel free to bend your knees. Lift halfway, breathe in, long spine. Exhale, hands down, step back, high plank, upper push-up, and hold it there. So we'll turn on our glutes a little bit by activating, turn on glutes and core a little bit, activate all those areas that support pelvic floor. So start to find a little bend into your knees and then squeeze your glutes to straighten out your legs. Yeah, so as you're bending in your knees, I like to think about buckling a seatbelt across my low hips. Kind of turning on the front of your body and then the back. Nice, Jack. For 3, 2, and 1. Shift forward, breathe in. Lower to your belly, exhale all the way down. Baby cobra, lift your heart, inhale. Exhale, lower, and find a child's pose, hips to heels. Knees can be wide or together. Relax your forehead down. Child's pose is a really nice shape to release pelvic floor again. So while it's great to find that engagement, we're sort of turning things on a little bit today. We also want to find that sense of release, that ebb and flow. We want strength and flexibility here, just like any other muscle. Next, inhale, tabletop, hands and knees. Let's find cow and cat. Lift your tailbone, drop your belly, send your arm forward. Exhale, scoop round, press the earth away. Twice more. Breathe in, belly down, lengthen. Breathe out, scoop and round. And again, inhale. And exhale. Come back to our neutral, hands a little bit forward. Find your way to downward facing dog, hips to the sky. So we don't have a block between our thighs now, but you can think about that same shape, that same engagement, a little lift. especially as we're going to hop to the top of our mats. In our yoga practice, pelvic floor lift is mula bandha, or the root lock. Bend your knees, breathe in, look forward. Try a little hop. Beautiful, top of your mat, halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Stand up, reach up, hands to the sky. Palms together in front of your heart. Breathe it out. Inhale to a chair pose, Utkatasana. I'm going to grab my block. You certainly can or don't have to. Find that inner thigh squeeze. Relax your shoulders, relax your face. Breathe here. Notice what you can turn on. Maybe glutes again, maybe core, maybe that gentle pelvic floor lifts. And notice what you can relax, your face, your shoulders. Nice balance between the two. Effort and ease. One more inhale. Nice. Exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Release your block. Lift halfway. Inhale. Exhale, step your right foot back. We'll take a low lunge shape. You can shimmy your foot a little bit forward, even a little bit out if you want more of a lizard pose. I'm going to keep my back knee lifted this time to find a little bit of strength and stretch. And we'll just breathe here. Perfect. From here, we're going to go to a warrior two. Back heel pivots flat. Cartwheel your arms open. Open up to your warrior two. And then make any adjustments. This is a great shape. I like to find that pelvic floor engagement too. You can think about drawing your feet together isometrically to kind of turn on those inner thighs, lift pelvic floor, and then see where you can relax and release. Maybe let that go. Notice how it feels to release and then turn it back on. Your pelvic floor muscles are like a little hammock, supporting and holding everything in. 3 different layers of muscles. We'll keep legs the same. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back. Stay as you exhale, maybe rebend into your left knee a little bit. Nice, one more big breath in. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down. 3-legged dog, left leg is gonna go up and back behind you. And then open up your hip, bend your knee. Maybe you find a little bit of movement, some circles, bend and straighten. Roll out your knee, your ankle. Extend your leg long, square off your hips. Take a breath in, one-legged plank. And take one-legged chaturanga, either halfway down, you can drop your foot, or all the way to your belly. Up dog or cobra, both feet on the earth. Downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Nice. Find your breath, find your adjustments. If a child's pose is calling your name, give yourself that rest, that space to release. Next, inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step, hop, or maybe float to the top of your space. Pelvic floor engagement or mula bandha will help. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Inhale to stand, arms high again. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Now the same thing to the other side. So starting with that chair, if you want to grab your block, you can. I'm going to do it without, but imagine that I have the block, that inner thigh engagement. Pelvic floor lifts. Low belly engagement, shoulders relax. And then maybe you change and see what it feels like without that awareness. Where does it help you? Where does it distract you? One more breath in. Fold forward, release it all out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, left foot steps back. And get yourself set up for that low lunge shape. For me, again, I'm going to keep back knee lifted, a little bit more active. Yeah, you can find more of a lizard shape if you want hands inside your foot. Let yourself feel sensation. A little stretch here. And keep your breath strong and steady. So good. Warrior two, as you're ready, back heel pivots flat. Adjust your feet as you like. Open it up. And then same thing, finding pelvic floor engagement. This time, rather than thinking of drawing our feet toward each other, we're going to think of pressing our feet away from each other and seeing what that turns on. And if we can find that pelvic floor lift here. And then relax, release, kind of loosen it out. And then find what feels most natural and comfortable to feel supported. Legs stay the same, reverse warrior. Inhale up and back. Stay as you exhale. One more deep breath in. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Frame your front foot, three-legged dog, right leg floats up and back. Open up your hip, bend your knee. Create a little bit of movement, a release. Extend your leg long, breathe in. Keep your foot floating, shift forward, high plank, upper push up to your chaturanga, halfway or all the way down. Drop your foot for up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. And then if you like a child's pose, a chance to reset, release, reconnect to your breath. From down dog, take your feet out wide so they come toward the outer edges of your mats, or if you're like me on a towel, a little bit wider than hip distance. Hands can always come closer to your feet. We're gonna add a twist. Right hands toward your left leg, ankle, calf, thigh, wherever it reaches, even if it doesn't reach in that direction. A little twist up and under. And then switch. Left hands to right leg. And release. Keep your feet wide, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to a squat malasana, heels in, toes out. And here you can use the block to sit if you've got one, a little bit of support. And find that tall spine, that openness through your pelvis, a nice stretch. And then if you want to play with engaging and lifting, you can find that gentle lift off the block and maybe a sit down. And a lot of times I think we think about finding the shapes that are the deepest or the most intense. But for me, it's actually easier to sit low into my malasana, a little bit harder to find the engagement and the lift up. So you can play with that a little bit. Yeah, and when you've had enough, sit, stay, breathe. Option to play with a little crow pose, hands down. If you've got the block, you might slide it out of the way or bring it in front of you for your forehead. Hands down, knees come to triceps, shift forward, look forward, and play with floating your feet. Amazing. Wherever you are, you're breathing, and you're using the pelvic floor lift to find some stability in your pelvis. Awesome. We're gonna step or hop back to a downward facing dog. You can take a flow through your chaturanga, up dog, cobra, or simply meet in downward facing dog. Bring your knees down toward your mat. Find your tabletop position and then draw your knees together so they touch. So as if you're squeezing something between your thighs, really turn that on. Engage your low belly and deep core muscles like you're buckling a seatbelt across your hips. And then try to keep pelvis stable as you extend your right leg back and your left arm forward. We're going to take a gentle reach out to a diagonal and then back towards center. So I like to inhale, extend, and exhale, pull it in. Yeah, really turning on all those midline muscles. So good. For 3, 2, and 1. And then release just your hand down, pivot your left foot behind you. We'll find a little side plank. Right arm reaches high, so right foot steps back. And then from here, press into your right foot, see if you can hover your left knee off your mat, and then lower back down. A little lift, core, pelvic floor. You can play with that. Back to hands and knees. Tabletop and a little sway side to side, cow and cats to reset before we find the other side. Knees together, squeeze inner thighs, find that pelvic floor engagement, low belly engagement. Left leg back, right arm forward. Little reach out to the diagonal, doesn't have to be big, and then back to center. And play with that a few times, pulsing through. Beautiful. Release just your hand, pivot your right foot behind you. Find your variation of side plank there. Stacking left hand, hip, shoulder, and then maybe playing with floating your right knee off your mat. Let's take 2 more breaths. Back through your tabletop, any counter movements. We'll find our way to downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop to your hands, forward fold. Lift halfway, breathe in, long spine. Fold, release. Stand up, reach up. Palms together in front of your heart. Give yourself a moment here to adjust. Clothing, breath, stance. Inhale to chair pose. Exhale, hands to heart, figure 4, right ankle over your left thigh. Send your hips back and down. And then if you've got the space, you can lower your elbows, your forearms, toward your shin, or fall out like me. Think about the stretch, but also a little engagement to create that stability. We'll take this to a one-legged Tadasana, arms to the sky. I threw you off, sorry. Knee high, breathe in. Warrior 3, as you breathe out, send your foot back, your heart forward, arms wherever they help you balance. They might reach back like holding a cape, wide, out in front. Imagine you could squeeze your inner thighs, even though they're not touching. That engagement toward the midline to lift your pelvic floor, to engage your transverse abdominals, those deep core muscles. One more breath in. Exhale, warrior 2, big step back. Open it up. Settle in here. Find your warrior 2 shape that you like. The balance of effort and ease, engagement, release. Inhale, reverse warrior, up and back. Stay as you exhale. One more breath in. And exhale, curl your hands down. This time you will take it to lizard, so shimmy your foot out to the side, both hands inside your left foot. Right knee can stay lifted, a little bit more of an active stretch, or if you prefer, right knee can come down. And then if you like, you can open your knee out to the side, or even come onto your block with your forearms, or support yourself in any other way. Breathe here, a few rounds of breath. Let the release be a release. So allow yourself to let go, to stretch, to breathe into space, to open things up. Come back onto your hands if you're on your block or your forearms. Keep your left foot wide, hands inside, lift your back knee. We'll step up to your squat malasana again. Right foot outside your right wrist, and send your hips low, hands to your heart. Before we find the other side, we're gonna play with moving into a boat pose for a little balance. So one more breath in here, and then exhale, sit back, legs together, shins float, arms wide. You can always put the blocks between your thighs. Find that core engagement. Yeah, beautiful. Breathe, breathe, breathe. One more inhale. If you've got the block, ditch it. Exhale, cross your ankles, plant your palms. See if you can hop back, land chaturanga, elbows bent. Yeah, up dog or cobra. Back to downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, travel to your hands, step, hop, or float. Lift halfway, breathe in. Folds, breathe out. All the way to standing, arms high. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Same thing to the other side. So starting in your chair pose. We'll take figure 4, hands to your heart. Left ankle crosses this time. Send your hips back. Maybe elbows towards shin. Find your gaze, your steady breath. Inhale, one-legged Tadasana, left knee high. Exhale to warrior 3, foot back, heart forward, wherever you like your arms. And just like we did on the first side, imagine squeezing toward that center line of your body, as if inner thighs were squeezing and you've got that block there, even though your legs are spread or split. Can you play with that sensation, that drawing in and up? One more breath in. Nice, warrior 2, step it back, open it up. Take a moment here to adjust, to play in, out, to engage, to release, to find that balance for yourself, a strong warrior shape. 2 more breaths. Inhale, reverse warrior, up and back. Stay as you exhale, feel the space. 1 more breath in. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down, frame your front foot and make your way into your lizard. So right foot out to the right. Back knee can be lifted or lowered. You can always drop your forearms, open your knee out. It might be the same variation you took on the first side. It might be something different that this side is asking for. Keep breathing. Keep noticing. And as that feels like enough, release onto your hands. Take your block off to the side if you were using it. We're going to step up one last time into that squat malasana. Left foot outside your left wrist. Hips low, hands to your heart. Tall spine, full breaths. See if you can find a little engagement, a little lift up. Yeah, 1 more breath in. And fold, release. Ragdoll, legs pretty wide. Hold opposite elbows, relax your head and neck and sway a little side to side. Nod yes, breathe in. Shake it no as you breathe out. Release your hands toward the earth. Lift halfway, breathe in. Right knee bends, right fingertips below your face, left arm to the sky. And release. Switch sides, halfway lift to reset. Left knee bends, left fingertips down, right arm reaches high. Twist in the other way. And slowly release. Heel toe your feet in toward each other. I'm going to sit on my block for a supported hero's pose. I'm going to place the block down. You decide how you want to do this. If you'd rather be on your bum, you can. If you're taking hero's pose, knees down. They kind of come toward each other in front of the block, and then you can sit back onto the block. And you might decide you like it the other way. For some people, this doesn't feel great on knees. Yeah, tall spine. Eyes closed. You can feel that block below you. See if you can lift pelvic floor as you sit. Imagine drawing energy up your spine toward the crown of your head. And then exhale energy back down and release pelvic floor back into the block. So just a little breath exercise as if you're inhaling energy up from the earth, up from your pelvic floor all the way to the crown of your head. And exhale, releasing it back down and relaxing. Very subtle, it doesn't have to be big. And you may not feel much. The more you practice things like this, the more that your body can connect and create those mind-body awareness connections. You can keep your eyes closed or gently blink them open. If you're like us on a block, seated in this hero's pose or comfortable on the ground, you can stay. If you're cross-legged, simply be on your bum or sit any other way. We're going to take right leg in front. So if you're sitting on your bum, your left knee can come out to the side. I'll demonstrate too. But if you're on your hero's pose, right leg comes in front, and then start to play with hugging this knee into your chest. Yeah, a little balance. Left hand is going to come over the top for the outer edge of your right foot, and then you can play with extending, not forcing it. We haven't done a lot of side. Maybe right leg reaches behind you. So I'm just going to share, if you're sitting bum down, it might look more like this. Yeah, perfect. And then when that feels like enough, release and simply swap out your legs. So you can tuck your right knee back. You can switch. Start to hug your left leg in toward your chest. That block adds a little balance element. Also forcing the engagement. And then you can take right hand over the top to the outer edge of your left foot, maybe left arm behind. Nice, and then slowly release. Ditch your block if you have it. We're gonna come onto our sides. Doesn't matter which side you start with. I'm gonna start on my right side. Forearm down, knees stacked. So you're kind of on the side of your hip. You can bring your left hand to your left hip or left arm to the sky. And then we're gonna think about lifting hips off the ground and opening up your knees. So as you inhale, there's a little lift, hips off the ground, top knee lifts. Yep, bottom knee will stay down, and then lower. So a little lift and lower. I'm moving my hand with it, awesome breath, Jack. Really turning on glutes, finding your core, using all those muscles to tap into that pelvic floor lift as well. Let's do one more. And then you can flip sides, however you want to arrive there. Get yourself set up, forearm down, knees stacked, and then start to lift. So hips come up, top knee lifts, like a little clamshell. Glutes are really turning on, core is engaged, and maybe a little sensation there, pelvic floor. Let's do 3 more. This side feels a little weaker to me. And release. You can come onto your back. Have your block handy if you were using it or if you have one. And we'll set up for our bridge pose using a block for a supported bridge if you have that available, on whatever setting, the lowest or the second, right below your sacrum. And then you can start to stack your knees above your hips and your feet up to the sky. If your bum is on the ground, just take that waterfall shape without the block underneath your sacrum. Feet straight up. When that feels like enough, you can gently draw your knees back in, feet back to the ground. Press into your feet, lift your hips, find your bridge. If you have your block, move it out. So we'll all take a little bit of an engaged bridge pose. So you can find that pelvic floor once more. Sometimes using gravity kind of to our advantage can help moving pelvic floor up. And while you're still using your glutes and your core, you're not gripping or clenching. Focusing more on that pelvic floor engagement. Slowly lower down, release, relax. Knees to chest, and a rock side to side. Place your feet on the ground so your knees point to the sky. Take your feet wide so they're as wide as your mat or almost as wide. And then let both knees fall to your left. And you can stay just like that. Yep, or if you like, you can take your left ankle on top of your right thigh for a little extra sensation. Release your ankle cross if you have it, a little side to side. And then let everything fall to your right, moving in the other direction. Same option, maybe right ankle comes on top for a little added, extra, more sensation. Release back to center. Happy baby. One or both legs, knees toward your outer ribs, tailbone long. You can hold on wherever you can comfortably reach behind your legs, your ankles, your feet. And then slowly relax. Any last shapes, please take them, please find them. Otherwise, set yourself up for final rest, final shavasana. That might be in that same reclined butterfly shape we took to start. Might be a more traditional shavasana. And let your body feel held and supported. Let everything fully relax. So as you breathe, just let your body do what it needs to do. There are obviously muscles that will contract and engage to help you breathe. But see if you can soften, release, relax the rest. Please feel free to stay here if you'd like a little bit more time. If you do feel ready to move on with your day, begin with little movements, wiggles of fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Maybe a full body stretch, arms up over your head. And with eyes closed or soft, you can find your way up to a comfortable seat. And just pause for a moment, eyes soft or closed. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Thank yourself for making the time to move, to breathe, to be present. I thank you for sharing your practice, your energy with me. We'll bow our heads together in silence. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you very soon.